Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to day 3 of CWL London live from the Gfinity Arena. We've played so far 18 games. We have 19 more to go. We are approaching the halfway mark. My name is Bryce, but to bring you the action from the day, joining me on the desk so far, two wonderful gentlemen, and of course, Jack and Momo, paragons of the esports COD scene. Momo, how are you?
I'm very, very well. Like you said, nearly halfway through. We're nearly at the end of group stages. I'm excited to get into the bracket play. Yesterday we finished with an incredible game and, you know, many more to come.
Okay, Jack, how are you this morning? Are you jet lagged still? Are you feeling good?
I'm getting over it. I think I'm doing pretty well. This is actually the most I've ever slept.
You look awful.
At an event. Thank you. No, I tend to. So I'm feeling good. I can't believe we're only at the halfway mark with having 12 series yesterday and like what 8 the day before. So
yeah,
we're grinding on through here at the CWL London event.
We certainly are. I mean, to be honest with you, for doing that many games in that short of a time, I just want to give a quick, kind of shout out to the Gfinity staff. That's simply superb. Apart from Warren and Fish, of course. Yes, nothing. It's a nothing all event. Yeah. But no, okay. So we've had so many games. We're now moving into the very final stages of the group games. So I believe we can actually take a look at the group to see where we currently are and how it's all gone down. Jack, Phil, I'm gonna let you break this down for me.
Phil, you go first.
Okay, well, I'm looking at A and B, Splice and Elevate straight away, nailing, solidifying their spot, but of course Elevate do have one more game to play. Bando struggling straight out the blocks, and Fab as well yet to pick up win. We saw in Group B though, Intuition, a team which a lot of people kind of doubt. Unfortunately, they haven't. Yeah,
Then as you see later on in the groups, we saw Millennium and Cyclone drop to 0-2 as well as Black Forest Games at Hadouken. Big things to point out here: Fab Games, Bando, Millennium, Cyclone, Black Forest Games, Hadouken, all playing today for the difference in what, 200 pro points?
Yep.
From that 16 through 14 spot and above. So we'll see.
Very important though.
How it all plays out. Yeah, it is important in the grand scheme of things. These points obviously mean a ton when coming into the pool play opportunities. In the end, though, the real group that still has an option for really having things shake up is that Group B, which you spoke about, the Imperial Elevate match to come later today. Definitely what I'm looking forward to.
All right. Well, like we said, we're going to end these out in just a few games. One of them actually already underway. But before we get any further, let's have a little look at the prize pool and see what everybody's actually playing for at this event. As you can see, the top prize there, $10,000. Not something to sniff at, something quite nice to take home, put in the old bank account. Let's look at the pro points as well now, because obviously these are something that is very important to the players going forward, Jack.
Yes.
And I think every single one of these, they want to get as many as possible.
4,100 point difference from getting first to that bottom 4 in this event. Absolutely insane in the grand scheme of things. Even a 2,000 point difference between first and second. Getting a title here, I would go as far as to say for some of these teams that are right on the edge.
They're going to lock in that ball play.
Yeah, they really just lock it in, and that takes a lot of weight off their shoulders and really drops the pressure for them. So people know how important this is, and to think that we still haven't even started that championship bracket yet, we're still finding out who's exactly going to be in it today with that Group B matchup. This is a weekend of not only showing your strengths, but also showing your stamina, because while it is a lot to play a lot of matches in one day, it's also tough to play 1 match to 2 matches across 3-4 days, to have to keep your mindset positive, to have to watch all these games and learn and improve as the weekend goes on.
Yeah, I found it incredibly difficult to listen to you for 4 days.
No, you're not the only one. You're not the only one.
All right, I'll tell you what, let's have a little look at the schedule and see how it is all going down and where these games are coming in. So, as you can see, kicking off, Fab versus Banner. That game is currently underway. We will jump in at map 3, and we're already getting in. You can see the end of the groups coming up there, right at the end, match 6. We're coming out of that one, and then obviously this will all be populated as the day goes on. So, some of these games, we're not entirely sure yet. We don't know what's quite going on, but of course, the schedule will be populated, and we'll know who the big games are in just a short while.
That match 7. Aware and 3G has me really excited, because 3G, from what we saw last night with their ability to obviously take the upset over Orbit, I want to see them consistently keep that going. Aware, 3G is a match prior to this weekend that I'm looking at, and I don't know about you, Momo, but I'm thinking this is one that could be pretty close. If 3G play how they did last night, I think it should be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, they should really go into that, not only with a positive mindset, but, they've got the momentum from yesterday. And, going into kind of the longevity of this tournament, they're, say, placing first, they'll come up against Aware Gaming. If you look at the likes of Fnatic, who they draw, they get, what, Elevate, or more than likely Elevate? Epsilon it could be, and then you look at Orbit versus Splice, I'm on. Team 3G pick out Aware, they're thinking, you know what, we're not only doing fantastic in the group, we've got a really, really good run to make it far, get those pro points and maybe get a bit extra.
3G in defeating Orbit last night did something massive.
Oh yeah.
Simply huge, because not only do Orbit now have to play Splice first round, but 3G got Aware. So 3G basically didn't just beat Orbit, take place in the group. In my opinion, they actually took a higher placement off that one game in the group. Yeah. I think they've got Aware in the bag. I think they're going forward. And they're already going to get a better placement because if they played Splice, they'd probably drop straight into the loser bracket. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Aware must be happy too as well.
Well, yeah, Aware is sitting there going, well, this is probably an easier game for us as well. But Orbit this morning are going to be left wheeling. They're going to be sitting there going, what on earth have we done? One of those two teams, one of the top two teams, is probably dropping into the loser bracket straight away.
Yep. Well, one of them
definitely will.
One of them
yeah.
will.
One of them has to. One of them has to. And judging from what Orbit looked like yesterday, it's hard to kind of put it past Splice, but you know, you saw, I mean, social media kind of says a lot. Rated, he was saying, you know, I'd rather kind of make mistakes, slip up day one, and bring it back day 2, 3, and 4, and he'll be coming back hungry against, you know, ex-teammates and the likes.
Not to mention that Shea Sweeney called him out yesterday. So
He did.
I am looking forward to that rematch. That's going to be a good one. All right, let's talk about other games we're looking forward to seeing today. Is there anything you particularly want to have a look at?
I'm excited to see who fits into that slot against Fnatic. Obviously, Group B is deciding on that, whoever finishes top. My prediction being Elevate. I think that will be a fantastic game. We saw Fnatic yesterday go up against Infused. And Infused, yes, they did win 3-0, but it wasn't a stomping. It was a close game, incredible individual plays. I want Fnatic to, you know, to give me something.
Okay, what do you want them to give you?
I want, you know, give me a map. Give me something better. What I don't want them to do is they came into this a bit, you know, underlooked. There was the top 4, and they were like 5th, 6th. I don't want them to just, you know, be content with that. I know the players aren't. They want to be pushing, breaking that top 4, maybe into something top 3. And we know how important it is to the players. The pro points are absolutely crucial, and I think the caliber of players on that squad definitely have it in them.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, let's move into Fab vs. Bando, because that game is, I've just been told, is currently going on. And not only that, it's now 2-0 to Fab over Bando. So it looks like this could be a 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, and I just saw the scoreboard pop up for a second on my screen. It looked like Fab pretty handily win the hard point, and then going to search and destroy really don't drop momentum there. It looked like it went 6-2 in favor of Fab. Moving forward, if I had to pick a winner of this match prior to starting up, I would have decided with Fab anyway. Yeah. I mean, this is a team that made some tough draws this weekend in regards to who they faced. Definitely think they have some potential. I know the players on the team as well were pretty frustrated with how they were doing, especially at the start of the weekend.
Well, there you can see the update going on. 250 to 172 was Scorch hard point. And then, yeah, 6-2 on throwback, search and destroy. Coming up next, though, Precinct Uplink. And I think the panel is in agreement on this one. It could be a 3-0.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3-0. I think, you know, this is the difference between 200 pro points individually, 800 as a squad. A big game for these guys. You guys might be at home thinking, you know, they've not qualified for the group. That, you know, don't underestimate how hard these players are actually going.
A Bando won on map, Mr. Wallace.
I'm going to say
I think
no. I don't think so.
3-0s.
They're going for the intuition.
I mean, it was Splice 3-0'd. Yeah, and Aware, I think it was.
Splice, Infused, they both have drop maps here.
I've been told this game is ready to go, so let's hand it over to our casters. It's Mr. X and Rel.
Thank you very much, Brycey. And yes, this is it. The first game of the third day here at the CWL Invitational in London as Bando go head-to-head with Fab and X. Fab currently 2-0 up in this series.
Yeah, it's something I think we all expected. Jack talked a little bit about it. The guys on Bando have had a rough go at this event, have not won a map yet. And going into Precinct Uplink, it does not look likely that they will do so. Fab, you expect them to take this one. Definitely the stronger team. And it's actually quite interesting. You look at the rig draft. For whatever reason, Bando decides to go Centurion over Overdrive in Uplink, which I don't agree with whatsoever.
No, it's a very questionable play. I mean, Overdrivers, if you get that drone, you can just pelt it right through the mid-map and go for a nice, easy capture. But here we go, things kicking off, and Fab making their mark early on as 3 go down for Bando.
Yeah, and it's going to be just JME just trying to lock down this drone area. He's just doing a good job, just stalling for time, putting down some shots, not letting the players on Fab get drone straight into their base. So Jamie on the defensive end here doing a very nice job.
Yeah, and their backs are really up against the wall. As the guys on the desk were saying before, both of these teams are not going to qualify for the bracket. But this is an important series. This is for a difference of 200 pro points, 1,100 to the victors and 900 to the losers.
Yeah, no, 200 is a pretty decent amount of pro points. Obviously, you need as many pro points as you can to get better seeding for some of these tournaments and even to qualify, whether they're invitationals or whatnot. So you do need the pro points, obviously, going forward. So 200 is a pretty nice amount to get.
All right, well, here we go now with OBC. He just peers around, not wanting to commit, in a good commanding central position of the map, though. And you can just kind of see Bando do have a good control of the uplink drone at the moment.
And it's going to be all kills, though, going in favor of Fab as 3 players, 4 Bando drops. It's going to be Bob, the only one alive. He falls as well to Addiction. And the drone now in hands of Fab. They have just done a good job of just holding the back of their base, but really no offense from either side. They've not been able to get control of this back ticket area.
おー抜けたー
By UAV Slays wanting to make the push. Kid is
けど
found too.
ダンク狙いが
And that has, oh, he's
お
managed
お
to find it.
す
Brilliant.
げえへえ
What the hell was that? Anyway, well, they get a 1-point play out of it. UAV throws drone straight through, and Fab gets on the board first. For a second there, I thought he threw the drone in a spot where I obviously couldn't pick it up. Looked like he just fired some bullets out of there, just get it moving a little bit, but it kind of bounced back into his hands. So good play there by UAV Slays. It's going to be KB picking up 2 here on your screen. The drone should get picked up by Fab here shortly, and they should be able to rally in some more points.
Yeah, well, it's going to be typical Nerd making that push towards it. It's actually Kibby.
おおもう正面から行く
It's going to be here with the block. Manages to find things open up, and they're wanting to pass this through.
Nice pass.
Carry capture there by UAV Slays.
Yeah, it's a good play there. They bring it down there towards that mid-street. They're able to get 1 kill in that back gas area and then trap them in the back alley. Throw it to a teammate in front for an easy 2-point play. So a good play by Fab at the beginning as they are putting all the pressure on Bando. Bando has no offense.
あーでも裏行ってる
Been that way for the first 2 minutes 30 of
あー
this
やられ
game.
ちゃった
And I mean, just talking about some of the players here, typical Nerd had a real standout game on that hard point. Carried it forward to the search and destroy. Not putting up big
これは
figures here on the uplink, but Kid is doing big slaying for Fab.
ああさすがにもう抜けれないか
I know Kiwi, one of the players we've known for a very long time in competitive Call of Duty. I remember him. I believe it was back when Killerfish.
Yeah,
ESWC. I think it was Black Ops 2. So Kiwi, definitely one of the players who's been around the scene for a while.
Get on board with Pesk now. Put so many hours into gaining pro points from the GB ladders, racking up about 45 games per day.
They need to play more games, bro.
Yes, they do.
I don't know if it's possible. I don't think it's allowed anymore. They need to play as many as possible.
Well, I mean, this is the problem. They've not won a single map here at this tournament. So
自分たちのところに持ってく
you know, this isn't the most difficult pool either.
ねえねえねえおかしくなったおかしくなったおかしくなったっておーい
It's going to be a 1-point play there for Bando. They're able to throw it in. I believe it was Hask.
おーい
Putting up forward drone control. Let's see if
またっす
Fab
か
pushes straight in, try and get.
Trying to pass, put Briggs there with
スリー
and this is going to really open things up. Finds the
うわ
Briggs goes through Bando.
It looks like they are
まあ
getting
でも
the
1
drone
点
forward,
あ
but out of those 4 kills, they get nothing on the board. So they
1
try
点
and
も
push
遠
the
い
drone
か
all the way through. They get stopped there right at the
あ
very
そこの
end.
攻めだとすぐゴール裏で終えちゃうんだろうな
When you get 4 kills in the middle on drone, you get drone control. You need to at least convert into a 1-point play.
Oh yeah, I mean that should have been a guaranteed point there. I really don't know what happened. Great plays though from Bando, absolutely cleaning them up. But we could see a counter developing there from Fab. Now things do reset. Bando making some important kills here. Fab still with the lead.
Yeah, now you do see the drone in hands of Bando with 30 seconds left. They have a good opportunity to put points on the board. It's going to be the drone in the hands of Bob. He gets a good roll off, and that's what they should have did the last time when they got the 4 kills. They tried to force it in for 2. They had no points out of that. Right there, they settled for the 1-point play. This realistically should be a 3-3 game at this moment in time.
And one single point can really cost the team. As we go into the 9 seconds of the first round, it is going to be Fab that lead this 3rd game in the series with 3 points to 2.
Yeah, but you know, pretty strong end to the half there for Bando. You know, they got dominated for the first 3 or 4 minutes or so, but the last few plays, sequence of events, definitely went in favor of Bando. They did a nice job. You know, Briggs specifically in the middle, picking up 4 kills, then pushing the drone forward. They're not able to convert for points. The second time, they do get some score out of it. So you did see some positive things for Bando there at the end of the
Well, still certainly in this game, but as we say, in the series, they are struggling. If you are just joining us now, they are 2-0 down. It was 250 to 172 on the hard point and 6-2 on the
センターを取られたな
Quite convincing wins from Fab, but a lot more resilience being shown here by Bando.
I mean, if you're Bando, you gotta just get together in the booth and be like, guys, come on, we don't want to be known for coming to this event not winning a single map. That is not something anyone wants to do when they go to an event. See typical nerd going in, trying to get a 1-point play. It's going to be intercepted by Hask, though. I do feel like there should be some kind of pride factor. Like, let's put it together at least once. I mean, if you win one, great. I mean, at least you just.
おっとこれ高台みんな狩られるんじゃないか。うひゃー。
We could be seeing a nail-biting final map, but they're going to have to put a shift in here. They are still trailing. Nice throws here. You can see that uplink drone just in front of Briggs, but he's got to make these kills if he wants to go any further.
Yeah, no, he does secure the kills, but the drone
あー
actually
リセットだ
resets
な
in
っ
the
た
middle of
か
the map, so they're not going to have a
お
chance to actually pick it up.
お互いリ
Even
ス
at Cherry
逆リ
Blossom,
スみたいになってん
they're
な
advancing down the street, so now Fab gets a little fortunate. They try and go back
け
to the
ど
drone. They get
さすがに
shot
引いてきた
down.
か
And now Bando with drone in hand, they have an opportunity to create some offense.
Are going to make this push right on the flank. You can see that Fab are ready to intercept here. They're going to engage. JME is getting shut down, and it may even be Addiction here that can take control of this drone.
If you're Fab, I mean, you just
わ
need to
センターにいる人
rotate
いい
back
味
to
出し
the
て
ticket
ん
area
な
and clear this out. This is the area that you cannot let Bando get control. Then Bando can start rallying together some scores, and we'll see Addiction knows there's players coming from the statue, but just needs to lock down this position. Does not need to push up too far.
Yeah, and they're well aware of that. I think due to how close this game has been, if this carries on 3-2 for another minute or so, we're just going to see an extremely defensive Fab because Bando just don't seem to be able to pull anything out of this half.
Yeah, and I would be nervous if you're Fab. You just do not want to play too defensive. We see many a times players just sit way too far back. They give up drone control, give up a little bit of space on the map. It's not like they're up, 3 points where it's a 2-score game. I mean, they're only up 1 Fab, so they need to still play some offense. And you see they're actually getting a good push right now.
これはこれはだな。いやダンクまであるな。おお。
But that makes it a 2-point game, which extends Fab's lead. And now they can play a little bit more defensive if they like.
Yeah, they're certainly in more of a commanding position. At worst, the carry capture would only tie things up. Still plenty of time on that clock, though, for Bando to produce something here. We do know that JME does have that payload ready to be activated. So will he bring that rewind into effect? We'll have to see.
Yeah, and I know the payloads, I don't think, outside of camo and overdrive, I would say, and reactive, I feel like rewind probably the one that does not make the biggest difference in respawn game modes. I feel like in search and destroy, obviously rewind a huge factor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There if he needs it, I guess. If he gets caught in a tight spot, uplink drone is just making its way towards the bottom half of this map. Bando have a nice surround on it, but they just seem to be getting blocked off every time they try and push on Fab.
Then it would have been nice if somebody on Bando had overdrive right now. I mean, maybe they get it at this moment in time. You're able to use it. The Centurion's not going to do much of anything here. I feel like that's a little bit of a misplay there in the rig draft, which usually we don't see that. Usually the rig draft kind of consistent throughout all the game modes. Maybe hard point you do see the Centurion coming.
ああこれはあでもダンクできない。入った。いやまあ今のダンクできると思うよな。すげえ近くで湧いたな。
I feel like that's something that shouldn't even need to be communicated. To take overdrive, I feel like that should just be a given. You see Addiction up in top ticket. He's done a fantastic job just locking it down all game long. 24-20. Just see him fall there towards the end. But see the guys on Fab, they just keep pushing the top side of the minimap as soon as they spawn, getting out of that back alley, getting out of the gas area, getting control of ticket. That's the only spot that Bando's really trying to push. I mean, they have been very one-dimensional on this side of the map.
And as we enter the final 45 seconds, we are still not seeing much from Bando at all. They've had a few opportunities here so far to actually take this game or tie up on points. We specifically note that big 4-piece from Briggs early where things really opened up, but just nothing seems to be produced from the big plays they made.
All right, so here you go. They're going to try something different with the drone, but only 25 seconds left. They're going to bring it down towards Cherry Blossom. They need to pick up some kills here in this mid-street if they're going to get anywhere close.
いやーこれはどうなんだ。いやーくっそがこれラストアタック臭かったよなだいぶ。いやまああと持って場外投げればいいだけだからな。ダメ押しだな。わーお。
Yeah, tough event for Bando. You saw Kimmy go off in that one, 27-19 without one throw score. to his name, UAV Slays does a good job with the objective, not a good job in the slaying department, but he gets one dunk and a throw for Fab as they win one series here, but they earn those extra pro points.
Yeah, and this is what we say because, sure, these guys aren't going to be advancing to the bracket. You know, they can't really continue any further in this tournament, but still, it's important to place higher in the pool. It's going to be important later on in this year. Well, we've depicted that as much as we could. Bryce and the analysts, what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you very much. I think there was one map, and it was certainly Fab-sided.
Yeah, pretty fabulous, you might say.
Yeah, Fab all the way.
But did you actually say that?
Fab up your life.
I was leading to the fabulous, and then you were going to, like, reveal, and it was all going to work so well. But
We didn't discuss that.
no, we didn't. We didn't have time, but it was all one-sided, an extra 200 pro points for Fab.
Is that a confirmed 0-9 map count now?
I think so. I know they lost 3-0.
There were about 4 million 3-0s. I think it's fairly safe to imagine.
No, it is.
Oh,
It
It's
is.
called being an analyst.
0 and 9. They basically they dropped the donut map.
Yeah, 0 and 9.
It's a GG.
That's so much better than like 0 and 15.
It never stops. It just never stops.
Okay.
I said to myself when I came to this, I was like, I'm gonna leave Jack alone.
Well, did it? But you know what else you don't want to leave alone? Is this wonderful jersey here.
Oh, that was just so smooth.
Is
That
it
was
called-
so smooth.
Is it called the .com/store?
No.
Shop.callofduty.com.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's see who's this is. This is 80 Drake 21s. Probably a terrible golfer. But no, definitely want to pick one of these up. That's what we should do.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
Just somebody. But you out there, you can purchase one for your own. I'm gonna put it on this chair right here. Let me just place it down.
I just want to. That went in the bin.
That chair is literally
80
a
Drake
foot
21.
off camera,
Here.
and he missed.
Your jersey is now.
It's now in the gutter by the side of the stage.
Matt, can you grab that thing?
All right, well, I just want to kind of point out, you know, Fab Games, they've at least won one. They've come here, they've boosted their pro points by 200. Bando, not so good.
No, really not so good. And for going 0 and 9, I think they should be. This might sound pretty harsh, but it should be grateful with the 900 that they get.
Yeah, put those away, pretend you didn't come.
I mean,
It was fun.
London's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
think if this is a team that's trying to qualify for pools, not only in obviously the international events, but in some of the European events that are still to come. When you look at these pro points ever earned, now with the 50 pro points a day cap that is currently set up, does something just get thrown at me?
Yeah, they threw the t-shirt back.
Jersey. got
Mr.
thrown back
X.
to me. But if you think the 50 points a day max that there now is, the 4 days that have been gone, max of 200 pro points, they're walking away with 1,100. It's a pretty good scenario for me if I'm a fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Not ideal, but
No, but to be perfectly fair, with the way they played this weekend, they didn't deserve anything else. They beat Bando. It's about as much as you can ask from them.
and we were even saying when watching that, like we were sitting there watching the game, it's like if I'm struggling that much on an uplink to beat a team like Bando, and then you know the other caliber of European teams that are here, they obviously have a lot to improve.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm about to get this one done because Fab Bando is out of the way. Coming up next, though, a very big game. Elevate versus Imperial will be kicking off here right after this short break. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it.
スカフコンへえ Whew.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome back to CWL London here live in the Gfinity Arena. One game down, so many more to go. So many more. I don't even can pretend with a number. It's so many more. But they're all going to be great, especially the next one. Elevate versus Imperial. Now, the group was stacked. Epsilon, they dove into the deep end. They almost took down Elevate yesterday. So Elevate, they've had a little bit of time to kind of compose themselves. They've said, you know what? We need to kind of bury Imperial now. Imperial, this is their last chance to get out of it.
Yeah, it really is. They've got a tough task, but we saw the flaws of Elevate yesterday. Elevate versus Epsilon, it was a bit of a toss-up. You really didn't know what was going on. You know, Elevate won half when they lost S&D. It was like, that shouldn't have happened. Imperial do have a good chance here, but they've got to bring the heat this morning. You know, yeah. Saturday, fresh. It's very, very early for these players. They've been playing for 2 days straight already. This is, you know, what is normally like a Sunday for them.
Yeah. Jack, you know, you've seen Elevate a little bit. I know you're a big fan of the team. And I'll be honest with you, Jack. I saw your face then. You were expecting me to rip you, weren't you?
No, I'm just, you know, I'm clocked out. I just get disrespected. It's not nice. I just get, my knowledge gets...
Not disrespecting
that,
you.
And I'm just, you know...
I never had any respect for you in the first place.
Right there. Another,
All right, I'm sorry.
It's simple math. It's simple math. Ready? You
Step back again.
Imperial lost to Epsilon.
Right.
Epsilon lost to Elevate.
Right.
What doesn't work
Imperial is going to lose to Elevate. That's how the math works.
The math... He's right.
I'm watching. I'm watching Shane.
You call it math. The rest of us call it logic.
I'm watching Shane here because this is the guy that had a great series with what we saw yesterday, the day prior. But can he keep that up? Can he keep that up? You guys talk very highly of his performance on land versus online. I just want to see the consistency keep coming in because everyone looking at this pool coming into the weekend thought Elevate were going to be sitting atop it no matter who else joined in. Then Epsilon got thrown into the fray.
Yeah.
And that's the battle right here. If you're wondering where we kind of stand in pools, this is for me, the last major matchup that really has an outcome on where these groups stand. It is, literally, it is compared into the championship bracket. So this is what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, me too. I think realistically, you know, both these two teams, I could see, you know, Imperial as well, actually, if Epsilon won there, probably getting into the groups. But before we get too much into breaking these teams down and figuring out this matchup, we caught up with Elevate Watson when he arrived in London.
The current roster was formed at the start of Infinite Warfare when I was looking for a team and Sean, Zach and Brady were also looking for one. And they approached me and that's how it formed. And them three were looking for one and they approached me and picked me. Zach is Dumpslayer. Jordan's a really talented, and he's a great teammate. He's a really talented S&D player, and Sean is very, very consistent. Considering we have second seed and Splice have first, I'd definitely say Splice are our biggest challenge this event. We played him in the 2K final, biggest challenge, but we'll overcome that. There's always been an EU COD squad. Every COD was always, but international is always a different.
Oh, you, Tomaru.
It's better to the COD squad. It's impeccable, so we will win this event.
All right, there's Watson, a fan of Watson, and his kind of forthright way of saying things.
I basically, when I see Watson in person, I just say hello to him. Just so he doesn't ever get mad at me because he's a very intimidating person. It's not like he's a large stature or he's somebody that you're like, man, he would beat the crap out of me. It's more like, man, that guy might actually be crazy.
Do you know what? I will.
Phil's got so many stories. Phil, hit us with it.
One story about Josh.
Go.
You're sitting in scrims, and you're like, Josh, big scrims ahead of us tonight, and he'll come up with something like, I think my brother's car's just rolled down the drive. I need to go. And it's like, if you wanted to come up with an excuse, you could have done better with that. That was the old Josh, and I want to say that's in the past because hearing from Zed, hearing from Reedy, it looks like they've got him in check.
Yeah.
He's online, he's playing, and that's why we see him back at the top because he has that caliber to do it. We saw him, last couple of years be at the top and then fall right down. But he's back.
I think this is safe to say, but at a time in Advanced Warfare when he came over and played in North America, there were some people throwing him in like the top 3 EU players in the world at that time.
Yeah.
Because he came over to the States, began to really grind it out, lived in a team house for a bit. Obviously, it didn't work out too well in the long run, but he's definitely had his name thrown to the top of the EU hat before. And you can hear the confidence right now. He says, we're going to win this weekend with Elevate. I'm not convinced of that yet, but maybe this match I can further try to build that confidence.
I think it may be for Watson a little bit of consistency. It's not that he's massively inconsistent. It's just that his name keeps getting thrown up there at the top, and then you don't hear anything for the next 3 months. It's just he's doing okay.
I think that's him, personally, not a bad thing. He's very dedicated to what he puts 110%. But if that's not Call of Duty, that's a problem for his team.
Yeah. Well, that was the start of Black Ops 3, right? Didn't something happen with the CWL season where like he was on a team and then he got like dropped right before it started, or they qualified and then he was no longer a part of the team because of his dedication to the game, like he wasn't playing enough?
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that and I was like, wow, how fast things change.
Yeah, I think the last time Gfinity was around, which was actually, or last time I was here anyway, I spoke to Watson. Watson said, yeah, I just got an early flight back from Spain. I was out there on holiday. I was like, did you not like practice? He was like, not for the last 2 weeks, but before that, yeah, I was on. I was like,
that's exactly him as well.
Yeah.
I practiced at some point in the last month.
and he'll come up with something, yeah, if I have a break, come in hot, I'm ready to go. And it's like, but in his head, that's logical to him. He is, like Jack said, he's just a bit crazy, but to have that crazy person in the game when he's going off, fire.
Well, you'd have to be crazy if you're watching a team with Phil, so that's just how it is.
Yeah,
makes sense.
I mean, it kind of makes it. All right, so that's one member of Elevate. The rest of this squad, of course, made a name for themselves as well. Both Watson and Reedy actually went on camera, and they did say they thought Zed was the best player in Europe right now.
Debatable, I would say, but he definitely is up there. His individual skill, his reactions, his gun skill, yes, but I think he's got a lot to learn from the experience side of things.
The way I began seeing him was in CWL last year, where how many times did he have the top play of the week in Europe? Because remember we put together the top 5 plays, and it seemed like it was always that. He was just doing something insane.
He was. And I hate to kind of jump to it, but it's whether, I don't know if the pressure gets to him a little bit more or it's just different. I want him to be like that on LAN. I want him to have that. And I don't know whether his teammates step up, but I think that Hyper Games was a particularly special roster where, they definitely underperformed on LAN. But in this one, I reckon, the likes of Reedy, they can step it up.
Yeah, they certainly can. And here's an interesting thing, right? So I'm actually going to bring the groups in now because it's actually very important, this game. This game is super important for a very good reason. So, looking at Group B, join me on this journey. Elevate, currently 2-0. You think, yeah, they're in a good position. But if they lose, it's a 3-way tie. Elevate, Epsilon, and Imperial could take this to a tie. Now, we're all leaning towards Elevate winning this, so we don't know if that's going to happen. But Imperial did look impressive. It wasn't a blowout against Epsilon. They have looked, in pretty fine form. They're not a team to be sniffed at. They're actually better than we thought they were.
So I would actually love to hear what the tiebreak rules are exactly on this, but I'm assuming it's map count.
I believe there's a big admin rule book that just cracked it open, like the spines creaking.
Yeah, right. Other groups didn't have to worry about this, but now as it comes down to this, it's like, oh, this could definitely happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, you think Imperial, Epsilon, and Elevate all had a 3-0 map count versus Intuition?
Correct.
Yeah.
So then it goes down to where the other matches went. So Elevate, Epsilon went game 5. So if it goes map count based, if Imperial can win this series 3-0, I actually think they're in the best spot of anybody on here.
It's certainly something to worry about, but I also think if Imperial somehow beat Elevate 3-0, there's more serious issues than the tiebreaker. Like, there's something just unbelievably wrong there, because for me, Imperial have actually surpassed my expectations already. To the point where if this was, the original group, like Supremacy were in this group, I think Imperial would bury them. Like, it wouldn't even be a challenge. We'd already be moving on to the bracket with these guys.
I think that, and once again, we'll wait for confirmation, but from doing the math in my head, I think that if Imperial were to 3-0 here,
Elevate.
I think Elevate would be the team. Would be the team out.
Because Elevate only won 3-2, but Epsilon beat Imperial 3-0.
Yeah.
So it's hard to think right now, and we don't think it's gonna be 3-0.
Yeah.
But quick maths from Jack. Yeah, Elevate. That would be strange to see. C2.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk more about the Elevate roster before we get into this crazy world of tie-breaking. Let's look at the actual team and break it down for everyone at home. So this is the Elevate roster. Should be coming on your screen right now. Look at that. Worked perfectly. Of course, Reedy, always known for his honest opinions. Shawnee, the new guy into the team, Watson and Zed. Momo, who stands out for you in this roster?
Shawnee, I've got to pick for a second. He's, the player which I'll be watching most. I've said it once, I'll say it again. He was a player when 2-3 years ago, thinking this guy would be on a top team at the age of 16, but he's now 18 years old. He's got a lot of hunger because he's been wanting this for so long. He's got 3 really experienced players around him, and we saw him a little bit shaky towards the S&D sometimes, but individually I think he'll shine this weekend.
Does Watson look cold?
He does.
Watson has that that kind of crazy look on his face again that which intimidates Jack.
Yeah, I don't think it's just like a random thing. I think it's quite often that look is on his face, especially when he's got matches to play. There's a look at Elevate, though, in the booth. Again, a team has found a stress ball, and they're throwing it around.
Let's talk about their captain, Reedy, because he's one of the more controversial figures in the scene. He's known especially for his kind of somewhat controversial way of putting things sometimes. I'm just finally glad he's found a team that can carry him.
I mean, I want to back Reedy up for a second. Yesterday, in those S&Ds, when he had players falling off a little bit, Reedy was fantastic in the S&Ds. He had the backpack
I know he was, but yesterday he was being very mean to me.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I felt like I had to...
someone's being mean to you, Bryce.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Yeah, Bryce.
I'm perfectly fine.
I'm sure.
I'm an adult. I can deal with it. Anyway, let's move on to the other roster. Let's jump on board with Imperial and talk a little bit about them. Brain, Endura, Sam B, and Shane. Of course, Sam B, a lot of you won't know him on the desk. We don't know him that well either. Yeah. But if Shane's picked him up, last person I knew that Shane elevated was actually 0, so...
he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
No, Sam B was someone that yesterday, as you mentioned, not knowing too much going into it, showed some impressive stuff in Search and Destroy. For this team, though, I'm really looking at Shane and Brain, the rhyming names, to be my MVPs of this series. I think they've got their hands full now against Elevate, and realistically, you look at this and go, this is all in their hands. They either show up now and beat Elevate and with a handily map count and give themselves a chance to move on, or their tournament life ends here. And that's pretty demoralizing if you're Imperial, because once again, we talked about how crazy this Group B was. They came in this weekend saying Epsilon won't be a part of things. Now they're facing Intuition and Prismatic. Well, guess what? Epsilon come back in, and now Imperial are like, whoa, we've got the toughest group of all now, and it's showing in a scenario like this.
Yeah, this is really under the gun on this team. I mean, here's the great thing about this squad. I think Brain has performed fantastically. Shane stepped it up. Endura's actually a talent that a lot of people don't know about. He was actually in the pro chat last year during the CWL, even though he wasn't in the CWL. So it just kind of shows how much he was respected. And kind of how good he is. Sam B's the only really unknown quantity for me. I feel like if you put another name in there, you'd be really kind of elevating how much you talk about the squad.
I want to just say about Brain, he's such an underrated player. He was underrated in Hyper Games. He didn't get the star. Studied kind of player. You looked at Zed, you looked at Shay or Quicker. But watch out for Brain. He'll be one to put big numbers up in the hard points.
With me on this team, I'm wondering why they have 2 players with 3 A's in their name, Endura and Brain. And if those 3 extra A's will give them victory.
Didn't you used to be known as A Courage?
AYY_.
AYY Courage.
It's a distinct difference of 3 A's.
Well, I feel like it's not that distinct.
It's like A, That's how it was. I don't think it's like Ender A.
Why is this important?
I don't know. Jack brought it up. I just thought, Jack, I thought he was going somewhere with it.
I just thought it was something that needed to be said. We talked a lot about the series and our expectations. You know, my honest expectation is going to be an Elevate 3-0.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
You're not giving Imperial any credit?
No, I've got Elevate. I've got
Epsilon yesterday.
I've got Elevate 3-0ing. I've got Splice 3-0ing Orbit later. We already saw Infused. I said this is how this tournament's going to go. It's going to be grand finals. It's going to be Infused 3-1 beating, or sorry, it's going to be Splice 3-1 beating Infused in the grand final. Calling that right now. Match 22 of 38. Jack Dunlop said it.
All right, wow.
I mean, just to put in Elevate 3-0, trio. I agree.
So all that's like, whoa, this guy is crazy. I completely agree, actually.
Yeah, I'm on this side.
I agree with you in the fact that I think the S&D's almost certainly going to elevate. The respawn's not 100% on. I think we saw a great hard spawn from Imperial. So the hard point from them should be fantastic. The uplink again, you know, we've seen some of these players not exactly consistent with their ones. So I think the uplink's definitely another one where I'm just not fully convinced. But I would say I want to say fully on board with the elevate prediction. I've just got this feeling like with how well Imperial played yesterday, if they do it again, then I can easily see them taking at least a map somewhere.
These teams need to get into the uplink practice mode, where you can just throw the drone, call it back, throw the drone, call it back, and practice those ones.
Let's talk a little bit about key players. I want you both to name a key player for this match.
Key players for me, I'm looking at Brain, and I am looking at Shawnee. Shawnee is the one which is kind of going to be the spark in their squad. If he can, you know, turn up today, which I am fully behind, I'm a big fan of Shawnee, they're going to take this 3-0.
Go. Reedy and Shane. I'm looking at the leaders.
Reedy and Shane.
Two of the veteran names that I've heard of since I began at Call of Duty. So looking forward to it.
All right, well, let's get this game underway. Over to our casting duo. It's Rel and Mr. X.
Thank you very much, Brycey. And yes, this is promising to be a very, very good game. Elevate and Imperial all setting up now. So much on the line here. As the guys on the analyst desk said, this could be leading to the tiebreak, X.
I agree, though, with European expert Jack Dunlop, though. I think this is going to be a 3-0 in favor of Elevate. I have been impressed with what Imperial's done so far at this event. I just think Elevate, they come in the #2 seed. If they know how important this match is, they're not going to let an upset happen. And I think Brycey said, you know, he gives Imperial a game. Well, a game doesn't help them. They need to win the series. So I'm going to say Elevate's going to move on to this one 3-0. That would be my prediction. But we have seen some crazy things at this event.
All right, well, Imperial are confident, but so are Elevate. We did catch up with Watson just before this game.
The Imperial are against my previous team, which is Shane. And they are not screaming much online, but they are pretty good. We'll definitely go into that game confident, and we'll definitely take it 3-0 versus Imperial.
And there we go. Watson very, very confident. I mean, he was saying in the pre-game interview, they think they're going to take this whole event.
Yeah, I mean, Watson's always a confident guy. I remember the first time I met Watson, it was late at night after one of the events. He was just hollering at me. I didn't really understand what he was saying. I was like, you have to play in the morning, man. I was like, you need to go to sleep. He came and played phenomenal the next day. But I know he's definitely mellowed out a little bit since then. You can see the experience and just kind of maturity rise with this guy. He's definitely one of the better shots in Europe. So I expect, you know, Elevate, led by Watson, to really come out strong in this one, which they are. Shawnee on a 4 streak there. He starts off 5-2. And the entire first hill pretty much goes Elevate.
Yeah, a very, very promising start. This is going to be so frustrating for Imperial as well. I mean, don't remember, Epsilon were a late entry into this pool, and that really messed things up for Imperial. Up until that point, they were pretty confident at getting second.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think they felt really good when obviously Prismatic was in this pool and whatnot, and they thought they were going to be able to get out. And, right now, they do not feel very confident, as it is 54-6 in favor of Elevate. Sam B being challenged inside of the hard point now as the hill goes over to Turbine.
That's all.
Going to be able to take out one, but the kill's just being traded here by Elevate, so they do a good job just sustaining for a little bit. Now they spawn far out. This is where Imperial can make some time back.
Well, it is a must-win game for Imperial to take it to that tie-break. Epsilon currently sitting 2-0 in the pool. We're finally seeing them bring some points onto the scoreboard now as Endure is locking things down. He's in a great position, but Shawnee just flushes him out. He's 10-3. The guys on the analyst deck, Momo specifically, were saying this is the one to watch.
Yeah, and Shawnee just flies in. He has some teammate help there, but you can't let that get broken here, Imperial. That is your chance to, you know, make a comeback. They would the rest of that. They would have only been down by, you know, 10 or so seconds. They give up some good time there to Elevate, and Elevate just pulls away even more. And now Elevate set up for this third hard point. So things not looking good for Imperial.
Not at all. And here with Reedy now, I'm just going to flip on to Zed. Both Reedy and Watson dubbing him the best Infinite Warfare player. Maybe a slight bit of bias there, but certainly testament to how good he's been doing already this season.
Yeah, I did an interview right before Reedy, or I think after, and I did not say Zed, and he was not very happy with my answer. But I think Zed, obviously, you know, like Jack talked about, you know, last year during the CWL, always in those top 5 clips. Definitely one of the flashiest players in Europe. Definitely a guy who I feel like his career is still on the rise. think Zed definitely has some, bright things ahead of him.
Well, let's see if the Imperial can do anything here. They are cleaning up these scrap 15 points. It's actually put them in a really good position because Elevate just aren't going to challenge for this. They're just going to go straight onto the rotation, which should bring the Imperial back within 10 points of the lead.
Yeah, but you figure if Elevate gets, 2 or 3 kills here, they're going to make that 10 seconds right back on Drill. So you see in the kill feed, Zed's going to be able to get 1. He's going to be able to get a second. Reedy, that's a big gunfight there, win against Sam B. So that 10 seconds that you did see Imperial get is pretty much going to be wiped off the board, as it's going to be Elevate taking the first 10 seconds or so here on Drill.
Well, Reedy is ready with the cutoff here. He should be able to pick up very easy kill, or he might go down.
うわー、うまいな、今の入り方。すげえ。
But 3 go down, Zed and Watson combine, and again they are shut out.
Yeah, it's some big kills there, right? If you're Imperial, that's where the best team take it.
来るの待ってる、ちゃんと分かってんな、そっから来るっていうのが。
Just the 2 remaining players, and you see how strong Elevate is as a whole. They're able to slay out of that scenario. It's going to be Imperial finally able to break in over towards that Drill hardpoint. With 20 or so seconds left, they should be able to take the rest of this time, as you should see Elevate getting those split spawns start to focus back towards the center of the map.
There we go with Shane, who is deciding just to run off that hard point again. Imperial left in a situation where they do manage to find all the scrap points, but it just puts them in a terrible position going into this break, as we will see Elevate get a good surround and setup now.
And I feel like we can talk about Shane for a bit. I feel like this is the best I've seen him play in a very long time, to be quite honest. When I saw Shane on the rosters coming in, I was like, he's going to try to compete again. He's kind of bouncing around for a while. I know he's doing some of the analysis work as well. But this is the best I think I've seen Shane play in the last, year and a half, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a top player, but has experienced a lot of flack in terms of his position within the top competitive community. But he's really found a team that he's gelled with here. It is quite unfortunate the circumstances in which they have to compete within this pool. Nevertheless, they are really bringing the fire here to what is arguably one of the top 2 teams at this event.
Yeah, and I feel like Shane is kind of a perfect player to team with some new younger guys. Just a veteran, a great teammate. So I feel like Shane does bring a lot to this Imperial squad. It's going to be Elevate taking the last few seconds here, and they get it set up for Turbine. So this is about as bad of a situation as Imperial could be in.
Yeah, 50-ish points behind now. Straight onto the rotation. But look at this. Sean is going to need some help from his teammates here, and Jura is managed to close him out. And Imperial now are in complete map control. This could be a big hill for them.
Yeah, and right before this Turbine hill actually popped up, 2 players dropped from Elevate, so their spawn's going to be tied to the previous hill, going to spawn all the way out. And that is how Imperial is able to break that, as Shawnee was the last one alive inside of the hardpoint. For Elevate, with 34 seconds left, this is huge time for Imperial. They need to take the rest of this. They're going to come back in this game.
Doing a great job, though. I mean, we said before that this was a really important hill for them. They have actually lost control of it now. And they're gonna no doubt be giving it up if they cannot break it on this single push.
Yeah, I think this is where you will see them set up for that 3rd hard point. Zed across the map for the side of Elevate. You see him drop in your kill feed because it's going to be Sambi inside of this 3rd warehouse hard point. He's going to lock this front bridge area down for his team, have some players watch the back, try and take the beginning of this time, but it's going to be Elevate picking up some kills here early and just flooding on in.
And this is the push now. They're going for the break. And Elevate again in control, and this is bad news for Imperial because they took a big risk sacrificing all those scrap points just to get control of this area, and they lost it almost immediately.
And Sampi actually uses his rewind there, ends up directly in front of Reedy, so puts himself in a bad position. It's going to be Shane, though, with a big 2-piece, opening it up for Imperial as they're able to get the hill back. But the damage has been done. Elevate is pulled away here. With 30 seconds left on this hill, Imperial is also forced to challenge for any scrap time whatsoever. They cannot afford to just give free time to Elevate here. So Imperial going to need a lot of help to make the comeback.
And a lot of help and a little bit of luck, I can't help but feel, as Elevate put on a master display. Zed 22 and 17, matching Sambi's slaying ability, but just excelling in the points area. Brain is doing his best, but again just gets caught off guard, and that's going to be a few more points going against them.
And it'll go over to Drill now. And you do see Elevate set up over by this hard point. We'll see Zed coming through the mid-map, going to use these high wall runs, trying to get in sight lines over the top of the building. He's able to get one. They know they have somebody trapped over here in operation. And see, it's going to be Reedy able to pick him up. Watson's going to be in the kill feed as well. And they're doing a fantastic job, Elevate. Just keep the assault going on the Imperial spawn point. Just keep pushing forward towards observation deck. The guys on Imperial have not gotten close to this hard point.
No, And it's going to be really difficult for them. You can see how well set up Reedy is here, just poking his head round the corner, keeping himself concealed. And that is going to be score streaks coming in now for him as it charges in. Just 10 seconds left. That's all that we need, X.
Yep, it's going to be Elevate on the hard point here, and they have just blown this game open in a game that was actually pretty close at one point. Looks like Elevate is going to win by more than 100. 141. Elevate in map number 1.
Yep, looking very, very strong there. And this does not bode well for the Imperial. They wanted to take this to the tiebreak. Elevate want to secure all 3 game wins in their pool and advance in the higher seed into the bracket.
Yeah, now you do see Zed getting off to that hot start. His teammates talked about him potentially being the best player in Europe. Goes 25 and 20, a minute 28 in the hill. All the objective were kind of split between the Elevate guys. Everybody with over a minute inside of the hard point.
All right, well, let's see what is going to be going on for the further games here. I mean, the guys on the analyst desk were breaking this down, and they were saying there is going to be nothing but an Elevate victory on the Search and Destroy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see that happening any other way. I mean, you know, Elevate's a very strong team in Search and Destroy. After taking that first hard point, you kind of see the clear path to a 3-0. Now, you kind of got to feel for the Imperial guys. They come into this weekend, high hopes. They expected to get out of groups. I know some things happen. You know, Epsilon ends up in their group, and that has kind of thrown their weekend astray.
Absolutely, and I mean, we saw the scoreboard there, just huge kills being made on either side of the playing field, but in terms of map control, it just seems to go completely in Elevate's favour. You can see Watson and Zed yesterday, they were all laughs and jokes in that booth, and now it just seems a little bit more serious as they're going up against some tougher competition.
I actually would attribute it to that it's 10:43 in the morning. That's probably why you don't see the laughs and the jokes. I saw Reedy sipping on a coffee, some people just chugging G Fuel at probably an unsafe rate. I feel like that is why you're seeing the guys on maybe a little lackadaisical in the morning. So Watson, he seems fine because he was drinking coffee at breakfast today. Coffee, the key to waking up early in the morning.
That's it. And yeah, I mean, it is a really early start, and it's going to be a long, long day. The guys on the analyst desk have talked about this. I mean, it's just going to be difficult for them.
Oh, as a player, I'm not a morning person. As a player, I hated the morning matches, just getting up. But you know, that's the luxury of just winning and kind of securing your spot early. You kind of get a later game. You're already in the bracket. Don't have to show up here early. Kind of fight for your spot.
All right. Well, we will see how all this pans out going forward. And you know, we've talked endlessly about the individual players and what they can really bring to this team. Just a quick look at Brain there. I mean, he's been a real upcoming star. He's been around for quite a few events now, and he is kind of becoming one of those top players that you see regularly plays quite highly in Europe.
Yeah, I feel like Imperial has the parts to be a contender in Europe, and you know, contending I think for more of like a 5 to 6 placing with kind of their ceiling, like breaking in and getting a clutch upset against a team in like a game 5. I feel like they do just lack that explosiveness though in the respawn game modes. I feel like that's where this team will kind of fall short.
I mean, what are your predictions for this? Are we both going 3-0 to Elevate after what we saw?
Yeah, no, I thought before the series this would be a 3-0 Elevate. I still feel that way after a dominating performance in map number 1. I feel like, you know, Imperial, you kind of look at them, they're a very good team. You know, they've come in, they've shocked a lot of people with their play, you know, probably performing better than expected. I just can't see a game mode where I would favor them in, where I can't see a game mode where I can realistically kind of say, okay, well, this is how they're going to go win a hard point. Like, I can't really explain to you that because I just don't think it's possible against this Elevate team.
Well, you can see the maps and game modes now up on the screen. It is going to be Throwback, Search and Destroy coming up next, followed by Precinct Uplink. If it does go to 3-0, that could be where Elevate take it. Just a quick map run through now. And we have seen this this map played the most. It is the only map in every single game mode in the COD esports rotation. And what do you think of this map? I mean, what's the bomb site to push in?
I think the bomb site, obviously, everybody pushes towards this over towards A, over by the bike path area. B, even with its adjustments, we still see, you know, not used too often just because you have to go to a large open field. It's pretty easy to get 2-piece by an assault rifle player as, you know, they're trying to push straight down. I do think it is more viable since they moved it a little bit further back towards the silo. I still have not seen teams push it very effectively, though. But when we have seen teams actually go over towards B, to be quite honest, we have seen them be successful. So I wonder if we do see more B pushes as time goes on, but I feel like everyone's just kind of playing their standard over towards the A bomb site.
Okay, well, here we go now. we get on board.
もう初動からセンターガンガン打ち合うな。激しい。
Yeah, they get bombed down, they get man advantage as well, so Elevate in a very good spot here to take this round. They just need to trade these kills out effectively. Now, Reed staying up top, watching from the bike path area. Sees one, doesn't need to challenge it, he's just going to put down a
おお、
few
マジっ
shots.
すか。
You actually see it's going to be Zed picking up one there, but just not... it's going to be enough, actually, as we see Elevate taking round number one. Zed gets 2 kills, Shawnee with 1, Watson with another.
Quick, easy, and clinical from Elevate. Great start from them. A lot was talked about in regards to Watson on the analyst desk. Ex-teammate of Momo, he brought a lot of information to the table, and it's just a very, very interesting character to be with both of them.
Momo is a wealth of knowledge.
He is. Well, he's been around the block a bit in terms of game.
Okay.
So he's teamed with everyone. They've realized that they can team with better people, and then he's been dropped or they've left him.
Oh, well, that sounds like a pretty sad career there for Momo. So, you do see it's going to be a 1v2 very fast in this round.
Oh,
Watson, the only
接敵する。
one alive here for Elevate. It's going to put in a few shots on the player directly around the corner, but he has some teammate support, so Watson's going to have to back out.
Yeah, really unfortunate actually.
Oh.
Some shots into him. Sometimes it can take 4 or 5 hits though with the NV4. Now opts for the K-bar. There is no one actually.
おお、すごい。初期まで戻ってったね。設置待ちってことなのかな。
Yeah, he's going to go over, check the B bomb site, just get some vision over there, and then he's going to have to wrap all the way around back towards bike path. And with about 35, 40 seconds left on the clock here, it's going to be very difficult for him to get all the way over and get back towards bomb. So, see how.
おお、美味しいとこ。
Looking over from Lemon into the middle of nowhere, and
Yeah!
the second kill, but
先に当てられた。
they win the gunfight there towards the end. They tied up at 1 round apiece.
I thought he might have actually pulled that off, you know. He kind of spotted just a couple of pixels of his head just hiding behind that gate, but wasn't to be as Sambi does clean things up, ties things up in the search and destroy as well. And nice round win for them.
Yeah, it's one where I think if Watson probably just lands that initial shot onto Sam B, may be able to take that 1v2 scenario, but Sam B with some nice accurate shots able to take Watson out there towards the end. Now we talked, maybe we see some B hits from either of these teams. We'll see, if somebody goes over towards this side, how successful they are, and you're going to see Elevate go over towards B right away. They pick up an early first blood, so you see good things already happening attacking this new B bomb site.
It's going to be bombed down very early on. It's been so aggressive from the attacks for Elevate here. Got a nice setup. There's all 4 players still alive.
おお、これは。
on their side as well.
はあ、B プラント決まると結構きつそうだな、これも。守りが盤石だ。おお、でも、ああ。おお。いや、もうこれ。ああ、だよな。B プラント強っ。
Game number 2, they do an excellent job just baiting it out, letting that clock run out on the bomb. Sam beat not enough time to go over and get the defuse.
That is going to mean Elevate now lead 2 rounds to 1. And looking at the scoreboard, we are seeing big plays being made by none other than Z. 4 and 2 for Elevate, Jura 5 and 3 for the Imperial.
We'll see Imperial on offense, what they decide to do. Going to go over towards A, and you do have Endura back by this bus area now, jumping up on towards the fence. Trying to get some sight lines, trying to give his teammates some cover.
でも一人もう裏来てる。でもまた帰ってった。
Very hesitant to actually push onto this bomb site. I mean, they've been completely spotted. They're well aware.
おーっと、うおー、うまい、挟んだ一気に。
And he is going to go down as well, and out of nowhere, Elevate just pounce on the Imperial.
Yeah, Imperial was just a little bit too passive there. They had set up for a very long time, just giving Elevate an idea to figure out where the players were Imperial and where they can make a push and make things happen.
いや、挟んでからが早かったな。一瞬で4人いなくなった。
Bamboozle them on the defensive end, and you will see Elevate now on offense with a chance to just really just kind of open this up in a way that I
開幕オーバードラ。
see Imperial coming back from. And You do see overdrive getting used by Reedy here at the beginning to try and get closer to bomb right away.
Yeah, and I don't think they actually know he's
プラ
behind
ン
it.
トは決まんなどっから見えたの
Final second there, Brain was ready. And does have
あ、そ
his payload ready to activate as well as
う。よくわかったね、しかも。
don't think he's been spotted either.
Yeah,
まあでもこれは決まりそうだな。
Shawnee actually opening things up for Elevate with 2 big kills in the middle of the map. So 2 kills in the round for Shawnee. They're going to get the
あ、でもアルファ
bomb
をでも挟む形になってるから、
down. Just back all the way
そんな
up
悪
here.
くもなさそうだ
Shawnee
な。
gonna put pressure over towards the bomb side. The pressure all on Imperial as now it's going to be Sam B, the only one alive. He falls as well. So 2 big
Ooh.
kills by Shawnee to open up the round for Elevate. They jump out 4-1.
And it's complete domination really so far in this search and destroy. Only 1 round taken by the Imperial. Watson finishing things off there with the K-bar. Definitely the gun of choice, I feel, for Infinite Warfare. Outside the OSA.
Well, yeah, and I think obviously for search and destroy, I think you can make the case that the NV4 is as viable, if not more viable, than the K-bar, just because of your medium to long range engagements. Just it really kind of determines on the map. You do not see the ERAD at all, really, in search and destroy. We do
一
see
気に
it
2枚で裏かけてく、今度。
We go now. And there's the challenge as kills are exchanged now.
いや、後ろやばい。
threes head. There we go.
おー、このリバインドはどうだ
Rewind to great effect and almost got a kill off the back of it.
Yeah, he just uses it to save his life there, and we'll see if they can win the round because of it. It's going to be a 2v2 as Brain takes out Watson. As Zed just searching for these players on Imperial. I have no idea where they're located right now. He's able to get one. It's a good idea this player's on the steps.
Yeah.
Down, not even winning. Be Imperial taking their second round.
いやー、落ちながらのエイム難しいよな、低感度だと。あ、出た、鬼使ってんだよな。驚きだわ。あ、鬼3発で解けるんだ。へえ。
Now we'll see if Elevate goes back towards B on the offensive side, or they just keep committing towards this A side. They look like to be going up towards mid-map, so giving themselves some options whether they could go, flank off over towards A or B. But do you see Reedy getting very aggressive? He's just going to jump right down on top of Brain. Brain just falling asleep at the wheel there, not even going to turn. Or see Reedy just drop down on him. Now it looks like he's going to play
おー、味方が前見てんのを見て、敵リス設置。あー、敵もな、プラントを阻止しようとしたけど、敵リス設置だったから阻止できなかったな。乗ってんな。
And I gotta believe that if they win the search and destroy, there's no way they drop the uplink. I feel like this is a team just too experienced, too strong right now. And they look like they're rolling. Look like much different than the team we saw yesterday against Epsilon.
Well, it would be a tremendous comeback if Imperial could take the uplink hardpoint and search and destroy that follow, especially after what we've seen so far. Watson does also have payload ready, active camo ready to pop there.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll save camo probably for the offense, or if Watson gets in like a 1v1 scenario in this, but they do get first blood, so really no reason to use the ability. He is going to use it towards the middle of the map, probably keeps him alive for an extra second there, and he'll take out Dura, so a 3v1 scenario.
かもずるくさ。超強いな。
Needs to clutch a 1v3, and then you still need a few rounds to go in Imperial's favor, then to win the map. So this definitely looks like the moment where you will see Elevate close it out.
2階でボムが落ちたのか。ああ。
Doesn't have control of the bomb. He's up against 3 times as many people, and it's very, very desperate times. Well, he's made a move on the bomb. You can kind of see as well, Elevator just splitting themselves.
あ、1人 B 戻ってった。うわー、これ嫌だな。あー、まあ。プラント気づいてたでしょ、あれ絶対。
And that'll be game 2 in the books. Very quick search and destroy goes to Elevate 6-2.
Well, he did everything that he could there, Shane, but the end result was that Elevate were just too strong on search and destroy. Big plays by them, and Imperial again must just be so frustrated. They really have landed themselves in this group of death, and it's really showing.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, that could have been a 6-1. I mean, you saw Sam B come up with that big gunfight against Watson. They almost blew that 1v2 scenario, did Imperial. So, obviously, just a really strong performance by a very strong search and destroy team in Elevate. Not too surprising whatsoever. Going into Game 3, Imperial tournament line, you know, their backs against the wall. I mean, obviously they want to make it out into bracket, so this is really what they're playing for here. They need to rattle off 3 maps straight to even force a tie-break scenario.
Well, they're going to have to pull out all the stops if they want to do that here. And we're going to see what happens now as we go on to the next map. And let's get things set up here as we go. It is going to be Uplink Precinct, and we're just getting a view of the players now. Zed very calm and composed, still with the I want to call it the stress ball, but
yeah, I mean, if you're in the Imperial booth right now, I think you just kind of need to set the moment, set the stage for what this means. I mean, this is legitimately your tournament on the line. Great. I mean, you can go home with some pro points, but you want to just rack up even more. You want to take that pressure off when you go home, having to grind through, you know, online tournaments and ladders and whatnot. You want to place well here at this event, and you're going to have to rattle off 3 straight maps against Elevate to do it. Obviously, the odds are against them right now.
Yeah, and I mean, as you say, the pro points count for so much because a lot of the players find it better to practice in other ways, just going up in head-to-head scrims outside of tournaments, learning things rather than competing, I suppose. And if they place poorly here, it kind of restricts the freedom to do that.
I feel like you learn the most from actual, you know, matches. I feel like scrims, you know, you got people like sometimes they don't listen to music. I know when I was scrimming at home, I was the worst scrimmage teammate whatsoever. I could not take them seriously. I mean, I had my feet up, I had friends over. I was just an awful teammate in terms of scrimmaging. Well, when it was real matches at home, whether it was for pro points or, you know, money or whatnot, that's when I kind of took it pretty serious.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it all pans out here, and we're going to be able to get a bit of a recap of pro points towards the very, very end of the event, as things could dramatically change. I mean, there's so much up for grabs here. 5,000 pro points per person for the victors of this. That could completely shift what we currently see in the standings.
I mean, even for getting bottom of your groups, I mean, 900, that is a ton of pro points as well. I know, obviously, you'd rather go home with the 1,100, gives yourself a little bit of a cushion getting 3rd in the groups, but still, every team that's here gets a decent amount of pro points, which sets them up pretty good for the rest of the year. The winner of this tournament, I will say, is in a tremendous spot, though, for the rest of the year in terms of pro points. This is such a huge event for the European teams.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Maps now up on your screen. You can see Elevate back-to-back wins there in quite convincing fashion. 250 to 141 in 6-2 on the search and destroy. We're expecting a similar kind of domination then on this uplink, I think, X.
Yeah, that's what it looks like thus far. I know I feel like uplink with the teams that have gone over to North America and played there for an extended period of time. You know, Watson getting some experience with Dream Team in North America. I feel like Elevate definitely the more prepared team coming into uplink as a game mode. So I'd be pretty shocked if Imperial comes out and take this. I think it would say, you know, a lot for the side of Elevate if they lose this uplink where their uplink game is at as a whole. But you know, if there is somebody that could pull out a crazy upset in this type of situation, it would be Shane.
It would be. So we'll start off watching him. I think you can just see the rigs on your screen now. Very standard stuff. And this time, Overdrive is being used by both teams, X.
Yep, because that makes sense.
Yes.
Does not make sense to not take Overdrive in uplink. In a game mode that where you have to grab the objective and run it in, you definitely want the ability that makes you run very fast.
Yeah, it was really strange, the previous game that we're referring to.
It's the type of analysis I bring, Rome.
Well, there we go. Zed with a big 3-piece here. He's really opened things up now, and this could be a very early capture for Elevate.
Yeah, they're trying to bring it back towards this back ticket area, and they do have teammates kind of pincing from that mid-street, but it's going to be Shane and Sam B able to lock down that back ticket area. The drone's going to reset, so a good defensive hold there from Imperial.
Still with Shane now, who's quite far back. Might be seeing an engagement here as Shawnee is on the flank. He's found 2. Shane does manage to cut him off. He's going to have to defend a bit down. He goes down, so does Endura, and again things open up as all Imperial fall and Elevate make a big push.
Yeah, now Elevate needs to just push forward. They need to get players set up, just taking guys out in the back alley. You see Zed and Watson trying to clear the way for no points out of that. Got to settle for the 1-point throw there.
あ、でもまだ、おお、わからん。あ、でも言うてって感じか。あれ、ワンチャンまだあるでしょ、これ。ワンチャンあるのでは。おお。あら、惜しいね。うまい。
early in this game, but Shawnee's going to be able to pick up 3 kills now.
おお、粘る粘る粘る。おお、そして前で打ち合ってる間に今度はこっちから来てるけど、うわ、粘るなどっちも。おお猛攻耐えたな、なんとか。
Very, very impressive play here in terms of defensive work from Imperial. They are going to have to be the aggressors, and this is pretty much the best chance they've had so far this game. They're making the way there, attempts to go for a long throw, but fall short.
Yep, the drone gets reset there by Elevate, so it will go back towards mid-map, and no uplink in this game as opposed to last year, and I know even back towards Advanced Warfare, I feel like it's a very low scoring. It's very difficult to try and get those
右からも左からも。
We see a lot of the battle kind of fight for mid-map. And even when you do see teams kind of break it open where you think you could potentially get some points on the board, they don't. Zed trying to go for a wall run, throw there, he just banks it off the wall. And something Jack kind of touched on, if I am European players, I go home and I just sit in a lobby with as many uplink drones as you can possibly spawn in. I just practice one-point throws. I feel like if you can master the art of the one-point throw, you can definitely become the best team in uplink in Europe. Oh yeah.
いや、とはいえこっちから攻めるとすぐゴール裏で僕からゴール難しそうだな。うわ、殺しても殺してもどんどん次が。おお、やばい、止まってると裏から来ちゃうよ。裏から来ちゃうよ。あー、来てるよ。おお、でも前おお、自分の味方のとこ帰ってったな。うまい。おお、ナイス。
Shane here with 2 back-to-back, now trying to make a push of his own, still 0-0 on this uplink.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a pretty good sign for Imperial if they can hold them to no points here, playing from the side that we do say is more preferred of the two. The map has evened down a little bit since the adjustment of the goal portal on the one side in that back alley area, you know, back towards construction. But I do feel like this would
混戦だな、いろんな場所で。
We'll see what's happening with Enjora as he's temporarily left last alive for his team, manages to pick up 2 big kills. Very important to retain this no break on scoreline.
You do see trying to push forward, get
いやでもこれどっちにとっても危ない状態じゃないこれ。
Elevate now starting to pick up kills. The drone does get reset towards the middle of the map, so they're gonna have to dedicate one player to go over towards it and pick it up. You see Shawnee just firing some shots.
あ、センター戻ったか、ボールが。
I feel like Elevate, they've always gotten 1 or 2 kills in this back ticket area, and they've not been able to turn it into points. Whether it's players coming off the spawn in the back alley, just not picked up, players rotating through gas. It just has not been a good first half for Elevate and uplink.
Reedy decides not to pick up the drone. There we go. Now he's gonna make the push. Oh, and he really needed his teammate to pull out on those kills. And then he's 4 down against Elevate. This is bad news in the final 10 seconds. Can we see something here?
ラスト最短でいくけど、まあ無理と。惜しい、どっちも。
0-0. This is not something we see too often. I did say it's low scoring, but usually we do see at least some scoring. I think the Frost uplink I cast.
FMJ ついてるんだ。
It's the lowest scoring uplink, obviously, I think I've ever casted. This one looks like it may go for the record here as well. As we have the 0-0 going into the half. We did not see really any great attempts from the side of Imperial to get points on the board.
まずここ絶対投げ合いなんだよな。フラグ投げ物の。
And as we've said time and time again, that can all count on just getting 1 successful, accurate throw.
Yeah, and it was a good use of rewind there at the beginning from Zed. Stays alive over on the drone spawn, and that's going to keep his streak going as he earns the Scarab. So, see if he can get some teammates over by him. They can pick up the drone. I feel like this is where you're going to see Elevate bring it over towards Statue, potentially knock down a 1-point throw. But seems like they are trying to push this one, force it down construction as CZ does have some teammate support. Alley-oops it up to Reedy. That is a 2-point play. And with the way things have gone for Imperial on the offense,
完全に取ってたな、ゴール前全部の位置。
We see the tie broken there. Took almost 6 minutes of gameplays to do it. The Imperial now wanting to answer right back. It's a nice throw.
ああ、キーパーできず。
Yeah, and somebody trying to go for the interception. for Elevate, just mistimes the jump there and goes to the right of the portal. It'll be Imperial getting 1 point on the board, so already more offense from Imperial here in the second half. So we do see Shawnee trying to lock this mid-map down. Teammates does pick up drone, gets out with his life.
でもこれきつそうだな。
For the side of Elevate, they're in a very difficult spot to put points.
おーでも
Watson going to get a 1 point throw off, not going to connect. So another miss 1 point attempt.
Yep, and it's just such a shame because things could be very, very different in this game so far for either team. But we are seeing Elevate still just about ahead. I mean, we thought this was going to be quite a convincing victory. It has not been the case at all. The Imperial still hanging on in here, but Reedy does now have control. This is looking very good.
いやー、おー、最後壁触る。
Very effective at putting in points.
うん。
In uplink as you see, it's going to be another dunk for the side.
ここぞとばかりのオーバードラで一気にいったな。
And we can just cycle through abilities on the side of Imperial. You have nothing really up just for Sam B. He does have his payload, so we'll see. I know rewind, obviously. I know it's good to stay alive. I'm not really going to put any points in
おっ
using
と
rewind.
これ
So, you're really
は
looking to see, you know,
あ
whether
で
the
も
players with active
ボール持つ人がいなか
camo
った
or
か。
get their payload abilities and convert them into points.
Okay, there we go with Watson now. Just cautiously around the uplink drone does get
まずいなこの位置。
Decides to back off though here. Wisely doesn't want to go for a challenge.
Now we'll see. Elevate only needs to really kind of play defense with the drone here. They don't really need to go on the offensive. You see,
お、引きつけてリセットしたってことか。
then throw the drone out. Gonna reset it, but you do see it's Imperial getting control of that bottom street, and the players for Elevate, they're gonna be spawning up towards that top side, and they're gonna be spawning back alley. So you could see points coming in for Imperial here. A 1 point throw goes in and it connects. So they're going to get one out of it. 3 players down for Imperial though. Now look to see if Elevate can answer right back with points of their own.
Yeah, the Imperial seem pretty committed to those 1 point throws.
いやーこれ守りが。
Both times as well for the team.
おっとこれはかえってまずいのでは。
Watson with some great defensive work. I think as we're kind of entering maybe the
うわ猛攻だなここで。
we're going to see a very different style of play.
くーおー。
You see Zed with another miss, so a lot of, you know, we've talked about it before, a lot of 1 point throws just not connecting for all Europeans here this weekend as Rady uses Scarab, able to get Sam B towards the back. Some nice shots there. He's able to make quick work of Endura. The drone is down right in front of him, and he's going to just push forward. Reedy just on fire right now. 25-18, currently on a 3 streak. 4 points for his team, so Reedy doing all he can to guide them to victory here in uplink. With a minute to go, it's going to be Imperial down 2. They do have drone in hand, and they are pushing.
ダンク決めたいよな。ちょっとこの時間帯になっちゃうと。くー全員抜かれてく。いやーこれまずいな。あっちは正直1点でも入れればいいから。あおーマイガーこれは終わった。うわしかも1点にとどまらず2点でとどめさせてく。完全に。まあそりゃそっか今のパスするわな。オーマイガー。いや最後こじ開けたな。
Score streaks are just being brought in for fun now as Elevate close things out and defeat the Imperial 3-0.
Yeah, no, just a lot of 1 point misses for the side of Imperial and quite frankly, to be honest, for the side of Elevate as well. But Imperial just could not get anything going on the offensive end. Sam B tried his hardest, 30 and 22. For how good Shane has been, has a rough one there in our final map this series, 16 and 27. On the flip side, though, you saw Reedy put up a fantastic performance, 27 and 22. 2 dunks of the drone. Then you saw Zed as well, 26 and 22 dunks as well. Shawnee in the kills department leading the way with 30.
Yeah, so, you know, it's quite interesting to see Sam B drop 30 and still lose. He's going to be frustrated with that after some great lane work, but they just couldn't unite as a team.
Yeah, you know, the Imperial guys, we talked about them, a very good story, probably overperforming, you know, for their roster here, just not good enough to make it out of groups.
All right, well, it's been a great series, and I want to hear what you guys on the analyst had to say. Analyst desk had to say. Over to you, Bryce.
Thank you very much.
there were saying, you know, it'll be a 100-point game. They'll take the S&D. The uplink was closer than I thought it would be.
よし、落ちるか。お疲れ。
I think